told you that one of the most imposing and powerful robots in cinema history was played by a man so physically weak he couldn't even lift the leading lady? And what if I told you that this iconic robot wasn't even the one in charge? Get ready to look beyond the silver saucer, because today we are revealing the 10 shocking secrets behind the 1951 science fiction masterpiece, The Day the Earth Stood Still. We'll uncover the political blacklists, the ingenious low-budget special effects, and a final truth that will change the way you see this classic forever. Released in 1951, at the height of Cold War paranoia, The Day the Earth Stood Still wasn't just another flying saucer movie. It was a sophisticated and daring call for peace, wrapped in a thrilling sci-fi narrative. Directed by Robert Wise, it tells the story of an alien visitor, Klaatu, and his silent robotic guardian, Gort, who land in Washington, D.C. with a grave message for all of humanity. Do you remember the first time you heard the chillingly calm phrase, Klaatu Barada Nikto? For many, it was an unforgettable moment that cemented the film as a timeless classic. But the story behind the camera is just as dramatic as the one on screen. Let's begin our countdown. Number 10. The Professor's Blackboard is Real Science. In an era where science fiction often meant rubber-suited monsters and pseudo-scientific jargon, The Day the Earth Stood Still aimed for a level of authenticity that was almost unheard of. When Klaatu, disguised as Mr. Carpenter, visits the brilliant Professor Barnhart, he corrects a complex series of equations on his blackboard. These weren't just random symbols scribbled for effect. The production hired physicists to write out genuine formulas describing the three-body problem, a real and incredibly complex challenge in Newtonian gravitation. This problem deals with the chaotic and unpredictable orbits of three celestial bodies interacting with each other, a core concept for anyone attempting interstellar navigation. The film's science advisor, Dr. Samuel Herrick, a professor of astronomy at UCLA, ensured their accuracy. This dedication to scientific detail, however brief, was a powerful statement that the film was a serious work of speculative fiction, not just a fantasy, grounding its extraordinary events in a recognizably real world. Number 9. The sound of the future was invented here. Close your eyes and think of the sound of a classic UFO. That eerie, gliding, otherworldly hum? You're likely thinking of the theremin, and this film is largely responsible for cementing that sound in our cultural imagination. Composer Bernard Herrmann, who would later score masterpieces like Psycho and Vertigo, created a revolutionary score that was as alien as the film's visitors. He used not one, but two theremins, an electronic instrument played without physical contact, pitched at different frequencies to create a disorienting stereo effect. He combined this with an unusual orchestra of electric violin, cello, bass, various organs, and a huge percussion section. Herrmann then experimented with avant-garde techniques like overdubbing and playing tapes in reverse to craft a soundscape that was completely new. This score was a radical departure from the lush, romantic soundtracks of the era and established a new musical language for science fiction, influencing composers for generations to come. Number 8. The magic of a seamless spaceship. One of the film's most memorable and mysterious visuals is the seamless flying saucer. When it lands, a ramp magically appears from its smooth, unbroken hull. There's no visible door, no seam, no handle. How did they achieve such a futuristic effect in a pre-digital age? The solution was pure, old-school Hollywood ingenuity. The visual effects team, led by Fred Serson, knew that a visible crack would ruin the alien illusion. So for the full-scale saucer prop, the crew filled the seam of the ramp's door with common putty, which was then sanded smooth and painted over with a silvery finish to match the rest of the ship. When the powerful internal mechanism opened the ramp, it would simply split the putty, creating a perfect, magical parting that appeared to come from nowhere. It was a simple, brilliant, and cost-effective solution that perfectly captured the feel of advanced, unknowable technology. Number 7. Blurring the lines between fiction and reality. Director Robert Wise made a critical decision to shoot the film in a realistic, almost documentary style to make the extraordinary events feel as real as possible. A key part of this strategy was his casting of the on-screen journalists. Instead of hiring actors to play news reporters, he hired the genuine articles, some of the most famous and trusted voices in American journalism at the time. Audiences in 1951 would have immediately recognized the faces and authoritative tones of H.V. Kaltenborn, Gabriel Heater, and Elmer Davis from their daily radio and newsreel broadcasts. Hearing these familiar commentators describe the landing of a flying saucer with the same gravity they used for world events was a masterstroke. It blurred the line between the movie's fiction and the audience's reality, making the unbelievable feel terrifyingly plausible and immediate. Number 6. The U.S. military wanted nothing to do with it. When you're making a movie about a giant spaceship landing near the White House, you'd typically ask the military for cooperation. But the producers of The Day the Earth Stood Still ran into a major roadblock. The U.S. Department of Defense read the script and, due to its strong anti-militaristic themes, flat-out refused to cooperate with the production. The film's central message, that humanity's tribalism and aggression made it a threat to the intergalactic community, was seen as subversive in the intensely patriotic climate of the early Cold War. The Pentagon was not interested in supporting a film that portrayed the Army as trigger-happy and misguided. The military vehicles you see menacing the saucer weren't from the Pentagon's official stock. They had to be provided by the 3rd Armored Cavalry Regiment at Fort Meade, a workaround that allowed the filmmakers to get the shots they needed without official endorsement. This conflict with the government underscores just how radical the film's message was. And while these behind-the-scenes stories are fascinating, the film's true power lies in the enduring impact it would have for decades to come. Before we get to our top 5, let's take a moment to look at the massive cultural footprint left by this masterpiece of sci-fi. The legacy. The film was released amidst the anxieties of the Cold War and the growing threat of the atomic age. More than any science fiction film before it, it used the genre as a metaphor to ask profound political and moral questions about humanity. It elevated sci-fi from bug-eyed monster movies to a vehicle for intelligent social commentary, paving the way for works like 2001: A Space Odyssey and Contact. Its influence can be seen everywhere. Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek, with its message of peace and exploration, was deeply influenced by the film's humanist tone. And of course, the phrase "Klaatu Barada Nikto" transcended the film to become part of the pop culture lexicon. George Lucas paid direct homage in Return of the Jedi, naming 3 of Jabba the Hutt's cronies, Klaatu, Barada, and Nikto. Over time, the film's reputation only grew. From a modest success that some contemporary critics found tepid, it became a cult favorite in the 70s and 80s. In 1995, its importance was immortalized when it was selected by the Library of Congress for preservation in the United States National Film Registry, one of the highest honors a film can achieve. Today, it is consistently ranked among the greatest science fiction films ever made, a timeless reminder that the best stories in the genre are not about aliens or spaceships, but about us. And with that incredible legacy in mind, the secrets behind its creation become even more significant. Let's get back to the countdown. Number 5. The star who thought it was a flop. It's now considered one of the greatest sci-fi films ever made, but its leading lady, Patricia Neal, was deeply skeptical during the production. The genre of flying saucer movies in the early 50s was not associated with prestige, and Neal admitted that she found it hard to take the script seriously, fearing it would be a campy, forgettable B-movie. She reportedly had trouble maintaining her composure while delivering lines she found silly, especially the iconic Klaatu Barada Nikto. For her, it was just another job, and she was absolutely stunned years later when the film not only became a commercial success, but was critically reevaluated as a timeless and thoughtful classic. Her initial reaction serves as a powerful reminder that even the people making a film don't always recognize the cultural lightning they've captured in a bottle.
Gort, Klaatu, Barada, Nikto.
Number 4. Casting an unknown to create an alien. For the crucial role of the alien visitor Klaatu, the studio, 20th Century Fox, initially considered huge stars like Spencer Tracy and Claude Rains. However, producer Julian Blaustein and director Robert Wise made a brilliant and counterintuitive choice. They rejected these famous actors precisely because they were too recognizable to the American public. They knew that a familiar face would bring the baggage of past roles and prevent the audience from fully believing they were watching a visitor from another world. They needed an enigma. The role went to British actor Michael Rennie, who was a star in the UK but relatively unknown in the US at the time. Rennie's classically trained diction and his dignified yet unfamiliar presence were perfect. He truly felt like a sophisticated, superior being, not just a Hollywood star in a costume. Number 3. The Blacklist nearly took out Professor Barnhart. The 1950s were a dark time in Hollywood due to the political witch hunts led by Senator Joseph McCarthy and the House Un-American Activities Committee. The role of the wise, Einstein-like figure, Professor Barnhart, was given to the talented actor Sam Jaffe. However, Jaffe was accused of having communist sympathies, and his name was about to appear on the infamous Hollywood blacklist. The studio, terrified of controversy, nearly removed him from the film. It was only because producer Julian Blaustein made a passionate, principled appeal directly to the powerful and staunchly anti-communist studio chief Darryl F. Zanuck that Jaffe was allowed to stay. Zanuck reluctantly agreed, but the damage was done. It was an act of quiet defiance in a paranoid time, but this would still be Sam Jaffe's last Hollywood film for nearly a decade until the blacklist's power began to fade. Number 2. The mighty Gort was surprisingly fragile. Gort, the silent, indestructible robot, is the film's most terrifying and iconic figure. He was played by Lock Martin, who wasn't an actor, but an usher at Grauman's Chinese Theater, hired simply because of his astounding height. Sources vary, but he stood close to 7 feet tall. But there was a major problem. Despite his imposing height, Martin was physically not strong. The Gort suit, made of foam rubber sprayed with metallic paint, was clumsy, hot, and difficult to move in. Martin could only stay inside it for about half an hour at a time. In the scenes where Gort has to carry Patricia Neal and Michael Rennie, Martin was physically incapable of doing so. The crew had to use a combination of hidden wires, lightweight dummies for long shots, and clever camera angles to create the illusion of strength. In the shot where Gort carries Klaatu into the ship, Rennie was actually sitting on a dolly just out of frame, pushed along by the crew, because Martin couldn't lift him even for a moment. The physical toll was immense. During one long take on the ship's ramp, Martin's muscles began to spasm from the strain, and you can actually see his arms twitching involuntarily in the final cut of the film. And now the golden flicker moment. Number 1. The robot was the real master. The fact that recontextualizes the entire film. We see Klaatu as the intelligent master and Gort as his loyal robotic servant, but the film is based on a 1940 short story called Farewell to the Master, and its title is far more literal than you can imagine. In the original story by Harry Bates, the robot's name was Nut, and the most shocking twist is that Nut was the actual master. Klaatu was not his superior. He was a biologic assistant, perhaps even a disposable clone, created by the race of intelligent machines to interact with organic life forms. The ending of the story has the human protagonist discovering this truth when the robot finally speaks, referring to the deceased Klaatu as a masterpiece, but making it clear that another could be created. The film adaptation reversed this dynamic, placing the human-like alien in charge to make the story more relatable. But the original concept presents a staggering and perhaps more frightening idea that the true power, the true intelligence, and the true master was the machine all along. Do you agree that this is the golden flicker moment? From a physically weak robot to a politically charged set and a secret about who was truly in charge, the story behind The Day the Earth Stood Still is as compelling as the film itself. It's a testament to the power of a great idea, brave filmmaking, and a message of peace that resonates even more strongly today. If you discovered something new today, illuminate our day by clicking like and subscribe to Golden Flicker so you never miss a single story from behind the scenes of Hollywood. Which film or actor do you want to see here in the next video? Let us know in the comments.